Good morning. Welcome back to Morning Oasis. I know it takes a minute for you guys to be able to all come in, so I will just give it a second and drink my coffee. I did sleep in again today, not as long as yesterday. I was up at 9. Whew. And I even got a shower in before Morning Oasis. I feel like I'm like on top of it today. It's a good day. We're going to be doing some recording starting tomorrow. So I did decide to not do a new moon meditation, but I did put last month's new moon meditation up on the Healing Pathwalker group. Up in the YouTube, Healing Pathwalker's YouTube channel. It's under Meditations from the Path, and it's also under the Morning Oasis. It's the only one that doesn't have the normal Morning Oasis image as its front. So our new moon, you guys, is called, you know how I love my book, my calendar, the Wee Moon Gaia's Rhythm Day Planner. And what they're calling this new moon is it's the sixth new moon, and it's navigating your journey, navigating the journey. And this moon is it's a full moon from May 25th through June 23rd. This moon is, and it's in Gemini on the 25th, and it's a full moon in Sagittarius on June 9th. And the sun moves into Cancer on June 20th. So I have been doing a little bit of reading about that, but honestly, really, it's just time to start learning how to flow through your waters. So when you do your meditation on the new moon, make sure that God, oh my gosh, I'm getting like all of these burps all of a sudden. Make sure that you are staying focused and clear on what it is that you want your journey to be. Good morning, Michelle. So yeah, I thought that was a really, really cool idea of making this moon meditation for yourselves around navigating your river. You can have it be your boat floating on your river, or however you really want to do it. There was also a poem that is in my book that I thought was really beautiful. So I'm going to read it to you guys. And while I'm reading it to you, we still have 2 slots left for card pulls. So if you would like a card pull, then go ahead and write it, and I will check back and see who requested the other 2 slots. So this poem is called My Secret Name, and it's by Susan Hines, and she wrote it in 2015. I've heard it before when all is quiet and the night air moves across the room. It calls me to awaken and set my feet upon the darkened road. It persuades my ears to press against the night when the stars sing in languages no human knows. Only the bones tilt toward its sound. It's wildness that calls, my secret name, and on the low hush of cool air gives itself to me. Abandon yourself into the owl's throaty sounds and the sinewy muscle of deer gracefully moving as Jupiter catches the lip of the moon. Sometimes it arrives unexpectedly upon my doorstep, carefully wrapped, fragile. Its opening pulls me into protected places where the quiet unfolds itself, into the whirl of tiny bird wings. Dashes of red ignite the space against the darkened greens, and the scent of jasmine and rose paint the air. I have heard it call across the chasm of mountain ranges, bold in its sound, echoing among the granite peaks, high upon the ridge. Above the sparkling lake, my body renewed with rock and gnarled tree. Then I am free, open, merged with the vista before me, weightless of the contemplations of the day, its reverberations, a stream, a rushing river, leading me away and back into my life. I thought that was just awesome. I loved that poem when I read it, and I was just like, I gotta share that with everybody. It seems to me that we so easily get pulled away from our journey, and sometimes we have to let that be part of our journey, that pulling away as well. Okay, Karen, you would love a card pull. Hello, Mariah. Nice to see you here. Let's see who else. Hi, Misty. Good morning, Michelle. Okay, so we have one more slot left for card pulls today. I'll go ahead and pull for Michelle. How is everybody this morning? Did you have a good day yesterday? I got to hang out with my little friend Itzel. Okay, Michelle. The Galactic want to speak with you. Cheryl, perfect. Good morning. Welcome. Cheryl, your name is spelled so differently. Is it just Cheryl? I don't want to say it incorrectly. Weird. I've got like some jam on my hand and I didn't even eat jam. So funny. Let's see. So, Michelle, the Galactic Heritage deck is the one that wants to talk with you. This one is the one that's by Lissa Royal Holt, and the art is by David Cow. I really love this deck, I've got to say. It's one of those good feeling decks. It like just opens things up. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Karen. All right. Yeah, and the new moon is tomorrow, so we're going to already be starting to feel that energy coming through, that energy of the journey coming through. Oh, this is one we have not gotten before. No, we have not. It's card number 20, but we were talking about this the other day. It's the power of sound. Let's see, is that good? Yeah. Okay. The power of sound. Vega, past. Sound represents the physicalization of spiritual energy into a frequency that can be accessed in our reality. Let's say that one more time. Sound represents the physicalization of spiritual energy into a frequency that can be accessed in our reality. Pretty cool, right? I love that. Shauna, we do have all 3 people booked up today, but that reminds me, I did not do announcements, which I'll do after this card pull. The ancient Vegans were masters of sound and used it for everything from healing to warfare. The practice of chant or mantra has its origins in Vegan mysticism and has spread to many planets, including Earth. If you've received this card, then you have past experience using sound to alter consciousness, either for positive or negative purposes. This positive skill or negative karmic control pattern is returning. Explore the power of sound as a next step in your spiritual evolution. This time stream of Vega is very ancient and is foundational for many ET cultures, including those on Earth. In the ancient past, Vegans had a strong spiritual connection to the founders and understood the structure of the universe and their role within it. The priests fully understood the journey from polarity back into unity, and they did everything they could to preserve this memory for future generations. Because they understood the sacred knowledge and made a commitment to preserve it, they were also the carriers of spiritual wisdom within our galactic family. They kept all the knowledge of the evolution of the spirit, spiritual technology, and the power that lies within sound, light, and thought. They were masters of sound, including mantra, music, incantation, and tone. The teaching about the sound of Om came directly from this ancient Vegan knowledge. Vegan mysticism has influenced Earth's ancient esoteric teachings, primarily those coming from the East, such as India and Asia, as well as Western mystic traditions. This card is a very specific one and appears only for those who have a connection to. If you are not aware of your connection to the power of sound, explore it further. You will mostly likely discover a whole new universe of knowledge that feels natural to you, and it may be the next step in your spiritual growth. We were talking about sound just the other day. I just went back and uploaded all the morning Oasises from like April, from March, I think. It was bad. No, April, from April all the way up through yesterday's. And one of them, I did a little conversation about sound and how to be more intentional with your sound and how to be more intentional with how you use your voice and the sound coming out of your body to shape and shift the energy of the people that are around you. So we did talk about that really recently, and it might be good to go back and listen to that. A lot came through in there, even for me. Oh yes, morning announcements. So we're not doing the new moon special or the new moon meditation. What we are running, Shauna and I decided to do a new moon special where you can get the two of us working with the two of us for the price of one person for a session. We're going to run the special through the end of the month. And so it's basically two healers for the price of one. And what we have found is when we team up, it's really powerful. And her and I work on different things and from different areas and different perspectives. So having the two of us is kind of like a tag team that comes in and gets so much more accomplished and cleared and released. Shauna works with the angelics and channels this powerful, incredible healing energy through the vessel that helps release so much that's stored in the vessel. And she pulls all kinds of interesting information. And you know how I work. You work with me regularly. Session work is different with me than it is on here, of course. More focused and targeted on you as an individual. And your multiplicity of your expression is where I tend to work. So we're running that, and there was something else, but I didn't write it down. I guess that's it. So we'll go on to Karen's card pull. Ooh, the energy oracle. Ooh. Oh, wow, that was a shift. Interesting. It's always so interesting when something just makes you just suddenly adjust so quickly. I've been really doing a lot of meditation in the evenings and spending a lot of time in just really quiet spaces. And one of the things that I've been finding is I'm definitely going through some upgrades. I can't speak for anybody else, but for myself, I'm really getting a lot of heavy energy coming through. I'm even getting to the point now where I will be doing something else and I literally feel a hand touch my shoulder and stroke down my arm like, come on, it's time to go, come on. And then I have to get up and go and do whatever it is that I'm going to do, or turn everything else off and lay back and receive. So it's been a powerful time right now, and we are having a lot going on in the world. I just had a friend come over last night and tell me about a suicide bombing that happened at a concert. This is definitely the time when people are going to be shucking off these beliefs, shucking off patterns and karmic patterns, essentially. And anybody who is so rigid in their belief system at this point is not going to last. They're going to be the ones that are killing themselves, or they're going to die in some sort of accident or some illness. Rigidity of belief is what I'm seeing, the common theme that's running between these patterns. And, we're also coming to a space where death itself, yes, it is sad and it's tragic, and especially when it's something like that, where you're at a concert and you're just having a great time and somebody takes advantage of that as a situation to be able to impact their will. However, we also must recognize that if we do believe in the law of one, if we do believe that we are all one consciousness and we are all here together and we all have created our lives with a set of experiences and contracts and agreements with each other, then we must believe that those who passed in that situation or in situations like that on some soul level had a contractual agreement with all of those involved to be a part of that experience. And what we can do as survivors of those experiences is we can stay really strong in our compassion and in our gratitude for what it is they're showing us, how it looks for somebody to have this rigidity of belief. And we can use this as a means of keeping others in alignment, in the sense that when somebody is feeling that deep, deep loss or anger or rage, we can come back into that unity space and look for a way to find a path together and to release the ideas of this rigid beliefs that keep us separate and willing to put on a suicide vest and blow up a bunch of people, right? I mean, we have to find some way of making that a powerful tool to ensure that we as a collective are coming together. And that's hard. That's really challenging. And I'm not gonna make light of that, because it's a painful situation, and I can't even imagine what it's like for the parents of the people who are at that concert, and the friends and the family, and how terrifying it must have been for those that survived and were there. So this isn't to minimize in any way those experiences, but to recognize that this is happening all over. And this happened here once, right? We've had this one time of, there's not been very many of those kinds of experiences happening in America, but they happen all the time in other parts of the world. They're happening all the time throughout the Middle East, throughout India, throughout Sri Lanka, throughout Africa. Maybe not exactly that kind of a situation where it's a bomber going into a concert, but we are having people kill many, many people all around the world based purely upon their beliefs. And so the next time you're sitting in an argument and you have a belief and it's so rigid that you're willing to get into a yelling and screaming match with somebody, pause, because those are the steps that lead us down that road of separation and deepening the separation. And I truly believe that that's what we're working on shucking off, is anything that keeps us rigidly defined away from the and in a state of separation from each other. So it is a hard time right now, but there's a lot going on, and we can shift it. We can shift our view of it. Karen, your card is number 33. Beautiful. Door to romance. New beginnings in love. Whether you're looking for a new relationship or just more love in the relationship you're in, this door with a heart opens to a new beginning in your experience, which is really what you guys are doing right now. Redefining your relationship with each other. It's beautiful. A new love may be arriving, and you are being brought together by a strong, resonant connection. This may be a call from a past life, or it may be a new tenderness about to bloom into heartfelt affection. This relationship already exists in energetic potential, so when this card appears in your spread, make sure you're projecting the kind of self-loving energy that you want to receive from others. Be aware that the universe returns your self-caring treatment to you. It's ready and open. It's ready to open that door. Are you? Hello, Nivian, and welcome. And the affirmation, Karen, for this is, as I open the door to my own self-love, I attract more and more loving tenderness to me. So I know that all of you guys are watching, and most of you are probably sitting alone. And even if you're not, hey, I'd like all of us to repeat this affirmation, because I think this is a powerful one, and I think that all of us could use more love in our lives. So let's just repeat after me. As I open the door to my own self-love, I attract more and more loving tenderness to me. Isn't that beautiful? Don't you feel better saying it? Affirmations are powerful. I used to hate them. My therapist would give me affirmations and she'd be like, okay, Jesse, I want you to go and look in the mirror and repeat them. And I'd be like, no. And then she'd ask me later, so did you do your affirmations? No. I was totally opposed. And now I love them. I talk to myself in the mirror all the time. And the funny thing is when I'm doing this, to me, it looks like I'm looking in a mirror because the screen's just showing me right back at me. Mariah, I have all 3 spots filled up, but I would be happy to put you down for tomorrow. I usually only do 3 spots in the morning, and we've got Shauna and Mariah for tomorrow if you both would like that. The last card pull is for Cheryl. And let's see. Oh, it's funny. All of my decks want to talk to you, Cheryl. Okay, which one's the one for today? Oh, that's why. It's the Shadowscapes. The Tarot. It's so funny when they do that. They're like, oh, yes, 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 yes. Let's do it. Yes, yes. All right. It's so chilly here this morning. Yesterday the wind came in and it cooled right off at night. It's been a beautiful, beautiful couple of days in the Portland area. All right, so Cheryl, the card that you got is the Ace of Wands. Now, the Ace of Wands is the beginning of a new way of feeling about things, a new way of expressing your passion and your creativity. Wands are wood, right? They're of the earth. They're an earth magic in the sense, but they're also fire as well. So wands are this transmutation energy, the point of changing a tree into a tool, or the point of changing wood into fire and light. It's this energy of change and transmutation. It's ancient guidance, right? That's one of the reasons that in the wand suit they use the wood, because trees have this really ancient knowledge. They carry the knowledge of all of their family around them. A forest is technically a family. There's even a mother tree that will support the rest of the forest and give knowledge and wisdom and help direct the energy of the forest and where to grow and where to shift to and how to get the best use of the soil. The trees are actually communicating through their root system all the time. So there's that knowledge as well. And we have all sorts of other symbolism in this card. But ultimately, what this is really about for you is a new way of creating, finding a new way of being passionate. Again, the clearing, these tiny little burps coming up. It's so interesting. And I'm definitely in the thick of that creative passion. Right now is this time to really get into what it is that you want to do. And most of us are finding that what we thought we were going to be doing as a creative project is completely transitioning into something new. So right now, that's where you're at. You're changing from your old passion into this new passion. And you're going to find that just by doing it, by finding the little ways to do it, that it's going to open up more and more. That's how we find what's passionate for us, is by getting out and just doing. And what is enjoyable in that doing is what we are being led to do more of. So allow your passion to start guiding you as you're making these decisions about where you want to invest your energy, your time, your efforts. So that was the card pulls for today. What I wanted to talk about, we've been talking all week about mirroring versus projection. And I thought it would be good to talk a little bit today about the mirroring system and the law of attraction. We hear about in our spiritual circles the law of attraction so much. It's a foundation for many different teachings and schools of thought in relationship to energy work, and it's powerful. The law of attraction is a powerful tool once you start to understand it. Teal Swan does a really fun, it's powerful video about, I think she calls it Fuck the Law of Attraction. It is all about how the law of attraction is really if for her is the worst part of being in this creation, and how frustrating it can be. And she really looks at it from that approach of how we can sack ourselves over and over and over with these unconscious patterns, thoughts, and behaviors, and she also dislikes the fact that it puts a sense of blame on the individual, like you've created your own hardship, you've created your own painful life. And so when we are in resistance to that pain, that's when it becomes suffering, right? And I think that that's the part that's kind of missing from that perspective, is that we actually have so many little lessons that show up all along the way that are not painful, that are subtle, that are small, that say, I don't know, I don't think this is the right path for you. Maybe you want to go this way. Or, this guy, this person in your life, this reminds you of a pattern. You've seen this before. You've seen this behavior before. But if we are not in alignment with ourselves and we haven't yet learned that lesson, then we're going to ignore those much more subtle, small reminders and messages and suggestions and guidance. We're going to miss those because we're stuck in a pattern. We're rigidly holding to a belief that hasn't yet been broken. And so we are going to continue to bring more of that lesson to us, and the lessons will continue to amplify until they become so clear. Now, the one thing that I can think of that for me that really made me realize this law of attraction is my marriage, right? My marriage has always been challenging. It's always been a struggle in many, many respects. I definitely spent years suffering through it, right? But I also couldn't leave it. No matter how much I wanted to or how many times I tried, it wasn't possible to leave the marriage. And it was because I had committed to myself that I wanted to evolve into who I came here to be. And I wanted to do it as quickly as I could and as completely as I could. And so along comes my husband, and I pick him. I completely picked him. I picked him off the street, guys, literally. And he did. He fit all of these different bills. He was so much like my father, my mother, my brother, all of the people in my life that had that I wanted to be loved more by, that I wanted to be accepted more by, that I wanted to have more relationship with, right? But that I could never figure out what was going on there. Well, those were the lessons that were being built for me to be able to grow through, to learn to be who I am. So I had to have those experiences with the family members in the beginning. Those are our early pre-programming processes. We go through those in order to set us up on this right path. Now, I could sit there and be so angry and upset and hurt with my highest of selves that picked this vessel, that picked the family units, that picked all of the trials and the struggles and the pain that I had to go through as I was growing up and evolving, right? I could sit there and be angry with her, or I could recognize she knew something I didn't. There was a higher level of understanding and awareness that this highest of selves had, and I can step into allowance and trust that. So with my husband, the minute I stopped fighting and resisting him, and this is not to say that suddenly this is the magic pill and everything is perfect, but the minute I stopped resisting what he was telling me and what he was sharing with me from his experience of me was the moment I got to actually see myself more clearly and understand myself more clearly and see how I set up patterns and situations, how I set up things that actually created all of the suffering in many respects. This also isn't to take away from the co-creative power of him, right? He also is creating his own sets of experiences and lessons, and I'm playing the mirror in his life. So we joined together because we could do this together. And yes, we both have grown and evolved into some beautiful and amazing people by our marriage together. And it was challenging and hard. The more time I spend sitting in that marriage, feeling resentful and angry, the less movement I have, the less creative I am, the less productive I am, the less I'm capable of showing up here in this space with you guys in my authenticity. And the more I allow whatever he is saying to possibly be true, allow the reflection to show me what I can't see, what I've been hiding from myself, then the more I actually get to see myself in reality. We have so many filters that are in place that tell us, no, they're the bad guy. That person is bad and they're doing this to me. And it's that part that we, well, it's not exactly that. We have the filters in place, but the filters are protecting themselves. And it's that protection of the filter, the protection of the viewpoint and the perspective that creates the resistance to the law of attraction, right? When we think of the law of attraction, for instance, let's talk about, like, for instance, the bombing that we were mentioning earlier. That would be like saying that all of those people created the situation where they died, right? But they all came together in a contractual agreement. So perhaps some of those people who passed already were feeling like they wanted to leave, right? They wanted to be out of this planet, off of this system, out of this experience. Perhaps by passing, their impact on the people around them will be so great that they will make changes. They will speak more towards coming together, finding more love, finding more compassion. We never really know, right? That's beyond us. But the law of attraction states that we come together because we are drawn to co-create this experience. And that experience is a catalyst. And when we resist the catalyst, that's when we suffer. That's when we have pain. That's when we have to escalate it until it's in a painful situation. So when we are trying to navigate these waters of, did I make this happen? You know, this person is in front of me and they're really pissing me off, or they're really scaring me, or they're really hurting me, or they're really upsetting me. When we keep our finger pointed out, right, we are not going to be able to learn what it is that that person is showing up truly for. When I'm working with people on in the Breaking Through Their Mirrors, in Breaking Through Your Mirrors workshop, or when we're doing work sessions on fractured states and patterning of behavior, the thing that people resist the most is they don't want to believe that the way that others are behaving or treating or interacting towards them are in any way a reflection of them. They don't want to believe it, because they don't do those behaviors to other people, right? So let's say you have somebody come and they are lying to you or stealing from you. And you're like, I don't lie or steal. That's not a reflection of me. I'm not doing that behavior. How come I always attract people to me who lie and steal to me, or who cheat on me, or whatever, right? So we can easily dismiss the lesson by saying, I don't do that to anybody else. But that's not where it lies. It's not the reflection of how you treat others. It's a reflection of how you treat yourself. It's a reflection of the internal climate you maintain with yourself. So for people who have a lot of lying and a lot of hurt in their lives from the hands of those who love them, they themselves, if you were able to step into their mind and step into the internal dialogue that's going on, you will hear them not being honest with themselves about what they're doing, what their motives are, where they're at, what their needs are, how much they're hurting. They're ignoring their own pain, right? So somebody who's hurting you is showing you that you're ignoring how much you hurt yourself by participating in situations or by beating yourself up about the same situation, right? So like, let's say you have somebody who's being really critical of something that you've done. They hurt your feelings. And you're like, I can't believe they were so mean to me about this project that I made, or this artwork that I did, or whatever it may be. we can stay stuck in how mean that person was about their criticism. Or we can recognize that we are probably hypercritical about our art, hypercritical about what we make in the first place. The things that we've already said to ourselves about this project are probably far worse than what that person said. And as soon as that person said the first bit of criticism, the whole strand of what we have already been thinking is going to be attached. And now we are actually just adding their words into our lash fest of self-laceration, right? And that's what we do. There was a video I posted a little while ago about how, I forget exactly what it was called, but they were talking about how it's not what another person does or says that hurts you. It's how you think about what that person does or says that hurts you. It's not what their actual words that are punishing you. It's the way you use those words to perpetuate your own self-punishment. Now, for myself, I have, for instance, I had every one of my partners cheat on me. All of them would cheat on me, right? They would all be, at some point, they would cheat on me with somebody else. And they would expect me not to think it was such a big deal because there was no love involved in it, right? Because they're like, well, it wasn't really about that. And I really do love you. And it was like, oh, are you kidding me? That's so friggin' lame. And I used to just feel so violated, right? And I felt so not held as sacred, not held as a sacred being. But you know what the reality was? I didn't hold myself as sacred. I didn't hold my daily practices as sacred. I didn't have a daily practice. I didn't take time to really know how I was feeling. I would feel one way and I would force myself to engage in another, right? I was in relationships with people I wasn't actually really in love with, but I wanted them to love me. And I thought eventually I'll love them, but I didn't really know how to love other people. I didn't really know how to love me at the time. So how could they? How could they do what I didn't even know? And once I really got that and stopped being like, I don't need you to love me. I don't need you to love me to the point where I feel approved of, because I approve of me. And so I started showing up in spaces with full love and approval of myself. And what changed was others were just like, oh, God, you're wonderful. I really love being around you. I love spending time with you. And I could feel that. I could feel the love coming from them because I knew what love felt like, because I loved me, because I loved the inside of me. So then they didn't have to show up and show me over and over what it looks like to not actually, to just mouth the love of the self, right? There's all sorts of examples of this I could give, but that's all. I think you guys get it. So let's do a little bit, let's do our work today in our meditation on looking at that. Let's really try to look at what is it that you have been challenging yourself with and unconsciously and had no idea that that's what you were doing, okay? So that's what our meditation today is going to be. I'm going to get comfortable and take a sip of my coffee. I hope you do the same. I know you guys have said a few things, but I wanted to stay in the strand of that thought because it's hard, right? It's one of those challenging things that we want to slip out of really easily. So, okay, go ahead and make sure you're sitting comfortably or laying comfortably. Let go of the screen, right? Let's go ahead and come into the self with a breath, breathing in and releasing. Good job, guys. You guys are so quick at this. Breathing in this present moment, feeling the air. And exhaling, releasing. We're working on building that circle breath, breathing in as soon as we get to the top and exhaling all the way to the bottom. And breathing in and exhaling. With each breath, we're making this circle a little bit bigger, longer breath. Feeling that chest expand and relax. Really allowing the full body to begin to engage in this rhythm, this cycle. Good. And as you're breathing in, I want you to begin to take note of all the little thoughts and people and ideas that are hooking you and pulling you out of this present moment, this present space. And just as you exhale, unhook from those and bring in those lines. Just draw those lines back in. Breathing in, allow all other distracting thoughts and ideas to come up freely and gracefully, and just unhook from them. Coming fully into the present, into the here and the now. And begin to bring your focus to the soles of your feet. Imagine that they're growing and swelling and thickening. And begin to send those roots down and out. We've got people spread all around, so let's go ahead and imagine that we're reaching our roots for each other, just sending those roots out, reaching, and feel yourself tapping into this forest of beings that are showing up here almost daily in this space to come into better alignment, more close unity with each other and themselves. And that infinite consciousness. Good. Let's go ahead and send some tap roots down all the way to the center of the earth, tapping into that heart of Gaia. And as we do so, we're going to invite Gaia to come up into our vessel, up into us in her full strength, her full vibration to support us in this understanding of this physical reality, this polarized expression of good and bad, right and wrong, black and white. Just ask her to support us and help us to find all the spaces between. As we bring that energy up through the vessel, feel how it's already coming up through the legs so fast. You guys are so fast at this. Bringing it up through the seat and into the abdomen. We've been doing a lot of personal power stuff, so it's really in the sacral and solar plex, letting it come up into that chest and heart space, remembering to keep your breathing in that steady circle. Bringing it up into that heart and lung space and down the arms, all the way to the fingertips and looping it back. Good, letting it come up into the throat and head, allowing that Gaia energy to just bundle at the crown. until we feel that crown opening and unfolding. Lots of energy moving, guys. Letting that energy coming up through the crown to carry our consciousness up and all the way up into source. Some of you have not grounded and connected with me before, so we're going to go through the full grounding and connection. So going all the way up into source. If you're lost, relax and allow, as though you're traveling on one of those circuits and the car just naturally goes because it's in the groove. Know that you're in the groove. There's some of you who are feeling a little bit unsure and confused. Just breathe in and relax, and we'll bring source down to you. There. Notice how, as you connected to source, just a calm comes over. The two sides, that polarizing, you definitely feel it with Gaia, but with source, it's just this, just comes into this peaceful calmness. Allow that energy of source consciousness to come down, back through the vessel, just the way you brought Gaia up, down through the head, and the shoulders, down through the arms and chest, and down through the abdomen, down through the seat, down through the legs, all the way down through your feet, sending that source energy down into the earth, down into Gaia as you serve in this time as a conduit between source and Gaia, part of the whole creation. Good. Very good. Now we're going to work on today really seeing the truth behind the behavior or a person who we believe is making us suffer, or a pattern or a situation. So I want you to think of a person that you're in conflict with, somebody who, we're going to focus on a person. So think of a person that you're in conflict with in any way, somebody that you are avoiding talking to, avoiding sharing your feelings with, somebody who's hurt you, somebody who is maybe popping back in your life after having been gone for a long time. Whatever it may be, they don't have to be currently presently doing it. If you don't have anyone like that, then you're doing a good job on really accepting yourself and seeing yourself. But we all have these challenges. So bring up somebody that you feel in any way in conflict with, and that you want to point that finger at, that judgment finger that says, you shouldn't be doing that. How dare you? In any way that you want to point your finger at. Just envision them. And now I want you to allow whatever they've done, their behavior, their pattern, their words, to just kind of flow out of them, as though they have these little bubbles that are popping up, little thought bubbles, word bubbles. Just let them flow out of them and really get into that state of separation where you are completely separate from them and they are way over there, and this is all that they're doing that proves they have to stay over there and we don't like them. Right? So just let all that flow. Run it through your mind, all the situations they've caused, all the problems, all the hurt. Good. And now I want you to begin to start to allow your judgment of them to flow. Look at them. What do you judge them for? Everything you can think of. Every single judgment that you've made about them. Any positive or negative, right? Just everything you want to point your finger at them and say. Just go ahead and let that judgment finger fly. Remove the idea that judgment is a bad thing in the first place, and just let yourself judge them for this time, in this space. If you need to write it down, go ahead. This is an assignment I actually give to my clients in the breaking through their mirrors. They have to sit down and write their judgments. So take this moment, this time, to just play through all the things that you judge that person as being, doing, believing, thinking, acting, entitled for, whatever it may be. Keep going until there's absolutely nothing left that you can imagine or think of or come up with to judge them for. Until it's spent, completely spent. There's some of you that are still going. Good. All right. Now, if you still have more, then you can keep going for as long as you choose. But I'm going to continue on because we're starting to come towards the end of time. So, now I want you to pick one of those judgments, just one. Just start with one of them. And ask yourself, is this how I treat myself? So let's say the person's been bullying you, and you judge them for being a bully, for being forceful and brutish with their opinion and their idea, willing to hurt you and as a result, in order to get what they need. Do you bully yourself? Do you have a quiet part of yourself that's asking for more? And you force that part to not receive? Right? Do you have a part of yourself that's asking for more quiet time, more alone time, more meditation, more cookies? Do you bully that part into submission? Do you force it to behave the way you think is the right way to behave, the way you've decided you'll get love? Do you have a part of you that doesn't get to express what it really wants because it feels bullied by your dominant self? If you have a person in a relation that you're in a relationship with who never respects your opinion, who doesn't listen to what you have to say, well, are you respecting your opinion? Do you have opinions and thoughts and ideas that you actually don't respect about yourself? Let's say you have a partner that's literally behaving abusively towards you. Maybe they're verbally abusing you. Pause for a moment. And are the words that they're using echoes of the words that you hear in your mind already? Are they just giving voice to that? This isn't about whether it's right or wrong what they're doing. We've already determined it's wrong. This is about you, about how you're behaving towards you. I know that the things that my husband said that were verbally abusive towards me paled in comparison to the things I said to myself. I verbally abused myself far more than he ever did, and I started at a very young age abusing myself verbally with my thoughts, my judgments of myself. Continue to look at these judgments of the other and ask the self, am I doing this to me actually? Is this person showing up in this ugly package that I want to judge and look at because it's so obvious that they're the problem? Just so I can see how I've judged and limited myself more clearly? This is the work I want you guys to work on today. And tomorrow we'll work on seeing that part more clearly and understanding them and how to move beyond the judgment piece. This is the work of that Breaking Through the Mirrors workshop that we do. And I only do this as a one-on-one workshop because when you really are stuck, it's important to just have that one-on-one. So today and tomorrow, up until tomorrow's morning Oasis, I want you guys to practice this. Practice finding people that you judge as separate from the self, and allow yourself to really let the judgment fly. Let all the judgments come out, and then go through them. Is this how I treat me? I guarantee you're going to have a different look at yourself after you do this. Thank you, Sue. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And thank you, Misty. You're welcome. Ah, yes. His new YouTube channel is amazing. His video, I just am so proud of you. All right. I love you guys. I'm going to leave you at that. See, I've got some stuff coming up too. So I will see you tomorrow, and I hope that you guys will be judgment filled and releasing. Looking at more and more, and we'll work on how to heal it tomorrow. Okay. Bye, guys.